Hey guys, it's Jynnette with Inner Sun Alchemy, and I'm here today to give you your astrological transits for the month of July 2017. I have a lot of info to go over today, so you already know if you've seen the last video that I go through lots of dates, lots of transits, because I want to give you as much information as possible to help you navigate the planetary storm, if you will. So I highly advise getting some pen and paper and, some tea and be ready to go in. Now, to get the most out of this video, I would suggest making sure that you have your natal chart if you don't already have it memorized. You can get a free one at cafeastrology.com. You need to know your time of birth, though, because that will tell you where your houses are and how the different planets will their movements through, the various signs will affect your houses. So without further ado, let's get started. So first off, June was an amazing month, and it looks like July and August are going to be pretty powerful as well, too. We actually ended the month of June, June 30th, with Chiron going retrograde in Pisces. So thank the Lord, because having Neptune and Chiron both retrograde in Pisces means that emotional energy has lessened and lightened up a lot. So we're not going to have as many emotional triggers as we did before, and we'll really be able to get in and get down and dirty to do the work that we need to do to excavate any of the self-limiting beliefs, any self-sabotaging behaviors. All of that stuff you'll be able to look at and actually address and be able to move through much easier now that those two have gone retrograde. So yay! But July 1st, we have the moon creating a loose grand cardinal cross. Now, if you are a cardinal sign like I am with a cardinal rising, you know that when we were going through those years of the grand cardinal cross, it meant a complete topsy-turvy of your life. Everything regarding, how you saw yourself, your home life, where you lived, your relationships, career, all of that was going through change. So the moon is actually having an emotional remembrance of that, because on July 1st, it's going to be conjunct Jupiter in Libra, and it's squaring Mars, which is in Cancer, Mercury, who is also in Cancer, and Pluto in Capricorn. But what's nice with this energy is the moon is going to be sextiling Saturn. So this means that Saturn is actually going to be lending his energy to support the shift and the change that's happening. So he's almost kind of acting like the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot deck, okay? So yes, this may feel familiar, the changes that are happening, but you should also feel that you are much more equipped to better handle these changes and feel like you've reached a place of mastery. So, if you're not a cardinal sign and having those primary areas being hit, definitely look at your chart and see what houses are being hit with this aspect. So right off the bat, we start the month pretty powerfully. The next day is another powerful day. We have Mars in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. Now, this is probably one of the most potentially explosive aspects, similar to last month's Sun opposed Saturn in Capricorn. But Mars in this regard is definitely going to be much more brash and emotional because he's in Cancer. Pluto is retrograde, so his influence is going to be slightly less. But these issues around power struggles and your sense of self-power, your sense of safety, your relationship to authority, the masculine energy, whatever that is going to mean for you in terms of relationships or how you present yourself in the world, this is all coming to light and coming to a head. So I expect that whole first weekend of July to be a pretty change agent time for you. So really pay attention to those to see what's happening in those first 2 days. The next day, on July 3rd, we have Venus in Taurus sextiling Chiron in Pisces. Now, this is a good energy because this is you really being able to see and feel where your values and your self-worth are, and to be able to make decisions from a much stronger and grounded place, and no longer feel like you are, I guess, making choices from a wounded place. You know, you're definitely coming from a place of strength with this aspect. So this kind of softens the blow of the first 2 days. On July 4th, Venus does shift into Gemini, and then Mars, which is still in Cancer, is going to be squaring Uranus in Aries. Now, you know, Uranus has been in Aries for a long time, and it's going to be in Aries until about March of next year. But again, Mercury is also picking up a bit of this cardinal cross energy that the moon picked up in a couple days ago on July 1st. And this is giving you new ideas for inspiration in creativity, in your thought processes, in new belief systems that you can integrate now that you've been doing all this excavation work to get rid of the old beliefs. It also gives you new ways to feel. We usually don't talk too much about new emotional systems or having a new emotional body, but this gives you an opportunity to start to play with that idea. We tend to really focus on things of the mind and the beliefs and all that kind of thing, but when you are doing healing work, when you're doing self-mastery work, it does require a full body transformation, physically, emotionally, and mentally. And so there might be some really interesting ideas that come up about how to reorient yourself emotionally and how you express and how you feel. And again, since Neptune and Chiron are both in retrograde right now in Pisces, that is giving you room to reconstruct this part of your life, or this way of being, I should say. On July 5th, we have Mercury move into Leo, and the Sun, which is in Cancer, is going to be trining Neptune in Pisces and squaring off with Jupiter. Now, this is actually, to me, going to be a really nice energy because Sun, Neptune, and Jupiter are all deeply spiritual energies and high esoteric energies as well, too. So this, for me, feels like blessings of the ancestors, blessings of, you know, our spirit fams, blessings of the angels shining down on us and giving us the opportunity to really enjoy the new relationships that have come in, to really enjoy the relationships that have gone through their healing process and now are getting a chance to regrow in a new way, and to also experience these again without the woundedness, to really be able to experience this newness from a healthier, more innocent space. On July 7th, we have Mercury, which is now in Leo, sextiling Venus in Gemini. So I actually think this is going to be a great networking day. If you have any invites to go out and hang and party or be out in the sun or what have you, be out and about. You know, this Mercury sextile Venus is always yummy because these two travel so closely together, and obviously they're so close to Earth as well. So with that sextile energy, it's just a flowing energy. Gemini is the energy of, you know, the mind and creativity and the intellect, and also friends and siblings and all of our peer connections. And Leo is being able to shine as you truly are in those spaces. And, you know, since you've been doing so much work, obviously up to this point, I think this is when you're going to start to feel that there's going to be a little bit more of a pep in your step. And you're going to start feeling a little bit more confident. You're probably going to start feeling more like that North Node in Leo is having a greater effect on you now than when it made the shift back in May. You're actually going to start feeling it now. The energy is definitely starting to shift. one thing that you probably noticed at the end of June, the energy kind of slowed down. And, this first week that I'm going through of the month of July is definitely like, it's, it's tough aspects, but, it's emotional truths and really kind of exercising being in this new space. And now by the time you hit the 7th, you're starting to actually get the hang of it and starting to get into your flow. And from basically this point on, we actually have the full moon in Capricorn happening on July 9th or the 8th, depending on where you are in the world. This is when the energy picks up, and we are going full force basically through the end of the summer. So that full moon comes in Capricorn, like I said, on June 8th or 9th, again, depending on where you live. On the 9th, we also have the sun opposing Pluto. So the sun is coming back around to touch this aspect that Mars just did literally a week ago. So now, are you at this place able to step fully into that place of mastery? Have you learned the lessons? Have you really integrated what messages and lessons came through at the beginning of the month? This is going to be that time for you to feel that and to express that. And again, Pluto is in retrograde, so the energy of Pluto is going to be lessened and the sun is going to shine forth. On July 14th, we have Mercury, which is in Leo, trining Jupiter in Libra. So this, again, for me, feels more of this networking opportunity. So instead of the energy where he was sextiling Venus earlier, where new relationships are being created, this is a time when those relationships are going to be able to flourish and possibly expand. So you guys may actually start planning ideas for things that you want to do together. If you just started dating someone, things may start to become a little bit more serious, but, in a lighthearted way. You may be able to start making headway with a family member that the relationship has been kind of strained with. So there's a lot of, as you're noticing, there's a lot of opportunity to practice and then test. Practice and test. So although this is not a negative aspect, but, Mercury trine Jupiter is brightness and lightness, intellect, connection, and of course, spirituality as well. On July 17th, we have Venus in Gemini squaring Neptune in Pisces, and also Mars in Cancer squaring Uranus in Aries. Now, this day is probably going to be another tough day like the beginning of the month was, because you have these two personal planets squaring these two powerful transpersonal planets. And this is probably going to trigger us, especially since we're dealing with the divine lovers, Venus and Mars. This is probably going to trigger us in having to face, once again, beliefs that we've held for a long time about love, about relationships, whether that's romantic or platonic, and just in general how we relate to people. That is being highlighted with this, and with the Uranus aspect, we're being given opportunity to receive inspiration of a new way to be, to break the mold, to break out of old habits, and to create something new. On July 18th, we have Mars in Cancer trining Chiron in Pisces. So I love this energy if you are really taking an active role in your healing work, because Mars here trining this is giving you the fuel to be able to do the work. So if you have been feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so much, I can't do it, will I be able to make it? You should be able to feel that you're making some headway. Also on this day, Venus is in Gemini, and it's going to be trining Jupiter in Libra. So there's definitely going to be some beneficial divine feminine energy being enhanced for this work. So, if you possibly have been thinking about reaching out and seeking help from a healthcare, mental health professional, or, going to, starting to go to an AA meeting or something, this is shining on you and giving you the confidence and the blessing and the support and the energy to go through with it. On July 19th, we have Mercury in Leo trining Saturn in Sagittarius. Now, this for me is starting that potent fire energy that we're going to see from through the end of the month into all of August, because we are moving into a grand fire trine. So much expansion, so much creativity, so much just connection and fire and passion, both positive and negative though. It's, depends on how people want to use the energy. But, having Mercury here is in Leo specifically, is we're going to find that we are able to articulate who we are, what we're about, what our brand is, what our business is, what's important to us in our relationships, and we're going to move forward. The fears have been burned off at this point, or they're starting to get burned off at this point. And there's a part of you that is throwing caution to the wind, really. And it's in a really positive aspect, because Saturn is also retrograde, so his more stern energy is lessened. So Mercury is really being able to fly now. So you're really going to start to be able to feel like you're shining, really be able to feel like you're starting to get noticed. And, with that, I would say make sure that what is being shown and presented is always in alignment with the truth of your being. On July 20th, we have Mars move into Leo. Okay, so more fire energy. The Sun in Cancer is going to be squaring Uranus in Aries and trining Chiron. Okay, so again, more fire energy, more presenting your gifts, more being present, more going after what you want, and taking the lessons that you've learned from the past and using them as a way to connect with people, to say, hey, I've been there, I've done that, I've been able to overcome it, this is how I've been able to do it. Maybe me sharing my story with you can help. Or, if you're in business, maybe that actually helps you to sell your product, what have you. This is going to be a really nice day. And again, with Uranus, inspiration, creativity is going to be really fun. On the 21st, the Sun moves into Leo. So now the Sun, which represents our consciousness, our conscious mind, moves into kinghood, being the king, queen of who you are, being in your full self-sovereignty, shining forth with your gifts in the way that only you can. We have now officially entered into that energy, and we will be in that energy for the next 4 weeks. So from here on out, it's going to be a whole lot of fire. On July 24th, we have Venus in Gemini opposing Saturn in Sagittarius. And then we're going to have Mercury in Leo trining Uranus in Aries. So Venus opposed Saturn is actually a really interesting energy, because it's kind of like there's a part of you, like maybe even you can say the inner child, that's going to be rebelling against the discipline that you've been imposing on yourself, or wanting to break free and be a little bit more of a little anarchist. But another way that you can convert this energy into something that's going to be more useful for you is to look at it as a way to get back in touch with your humanity. With all of this fire energy, with all of this, old belief systems that have, been let go of, we can get so focused on making the goal, achieving this or achieving that, that we forget to have fun, that we forget to connect with others, that we forget to play. And ultimately, this isn't going to work if you leave yourself, your human self, in the process. So this Venus opposed Saturn is saying stay connected to the value of who you are, and know that the simplicity of that is as important as all the things that you're going after. And then with Mercury and Leo trining Uranus and Aries, again, inspiration in how you express yourself, inspiration in how you show your gifts, inspiration in how you create. Maybe you do see a time right now where there's a complete shift in your approach to how you generate artwork, how you generate music, how you write. there may be a massive shift here. So pay attention to that and be open to it. On July 25th, we have Mercury move into Virgo, which is a sign that Mercury rules over it. So Mercury comes home on the 25th. So we're definitely sailing at this point. On July 26th, we have the Sun in Leo conjuncting Mars in Leo. So this is, for me, probably going to be my favorite day because Sun conjunct Mars is just full-on divine masculine power in your self-sovereignty. So this is a magical day. And again, it may be the 25th or 26th, depending on where you live, but this is a power day. Now, this can definitely be a day of conflict if you have been having issues with someone, because like you both are going to be coming head to head. But overall, with all the positivity and growth that has been happening by the influences of the planets, this is going to be a strong day to literally mark a destiny shift in your life. So you should be able to see at this point, and I probably already started planning around this point without even realizing it or knowing it, where you've kind of crossed a threshold finally, and you fully stepped into the new person that you've been trying to be this whole time. You're going to actually be able to sink into that and integrate that fully, and you're going to feel that click and see that manifest in your physical reality. So have fun on that day. If you have an important business meeting, pitch, or show, or what have you, that's the best day to do it. On July 30th, we have Venus in Gemini squaring Chiron in Pisces and sextiling Uranus in Aries. This is another opportunity, another check-in for you to see where the old patterns and wounds of behavior are, and new ways that you can create a new identity, create a new emotional body, create a new physical body. And this should actually be easy breezy for you at this point, because like I said, you crossed that threshold on the 26th, and now this is just the refining process. And finally, the last day of the month, we have July 31st, and Venus moves into Cancer. So moves into that beautiful, warm, yummy energy. Actually a little needed, because, you know, we need direct planetary movement in water to kind of balance all the fire that we have going on. And we do have, like I said, Mercury in Virgo that went into Virgo a couple days ago, but we do need that energy to balance all the fire because it's a lot. But as you can see for this month, you know, it starts off the beginning of the month a little tricky still. Some things are triggered still, but once we get to mid-month, and especially the last part of the month, yeah, things are flying, opportunities are happening, and you are fully stepping into your power. Now, I want to finish off with the asteroids, because those are always important to keep in mind. So Ceres, she actually starts the month off in Gemini. She finishes up her transit there, and then she moves into Cancer the second half of July. So again, more water energy to help balance out the fire energy. And then we have Pallas just move into Taurus, and she'll be in Taurus for the full month. So again, grounded feminine energy to help balance all the fire energy that's there. Juno is still retrograde in Capricorn, so she's in the same area where Pluto is. So she's still working on your relationships and partnerships. We're still not quite out of the woods yet, but there is definitely an important growth aspect that you're going through this month, because you are being given the opportunity now to really get clear on who you are, what your values are, and your center of gravity, so that when Pluto and Juno go direct, I think Juno goes direct first, but when that energy goes direct and you enter partnerships, then you're going to be much more clear and solid, and more discerning about the agreements that you enter into, whether that's relationships, romantic relationships, or business relationships. And finally, we have Vesta, who starts the month off in the latter part of the Leo energy. So she's also in that fire energy, helping us push through the first part of the month where it's a little more tough. And then she moves into Virgo in the second half of July. So again, more grounded earth energy to help balance the fiery energy of transformation. So, you know, with all the changes, with all the openings and opportunities that are coming, you should actually feel pretty stable this month. And anything that does come up that you do need help with, you're going to have the wherewithal to actually be able to reach out and get help and implement any changes that you need to do much more easily than you have in the past. And that is something to celebrate. I wish you all an amazing month. I personally am so psyched, and I'm going to make it a point to make sure I slow down and take it easy and don't go overboard. But I'm really excited for this month, and I'm really excited for August and to see where I will be and where we all will be at the end of this fiery transit, because I think that the process of transformation that we've been going on for basically from last fall to now is going to literally feel like you were at a crossroads and chose to take the high ground into the life you want. It's going to be amazing. It really is. I hope you have an amazing time. Please do reach out to me if you would like to do a tarot card reading or an astrology reading, or if you actually want to do an energy healing session. I do aura clearing, chakra balancing. I heal with crystals. Obviously do Reiki, and I do work with the deeper levels of the soul and the oversoul. We can really get into it. Reach out to me at my website below, innersunalchemy.com. If you have questions, you can email me. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next month. Much love to you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.